Hi, Shariq. Very nice to meet you. Today we are here to record a video on customer outcomes. Just to give you a brief background to our viewers, Enzia is a $40 million fund focused on health, education, environment. We are an early stage thesis-driven fund. And as a fund, we also have a very strong focus on outcomes, which permeates in all our conversations with our portfolio companies. For us, outcomes focus is about ensuring strong customer outcomes, which then will lead to strong business outcomes. So in a way, for us, impact or outcomes and returns are interlinked. The challenge actually lies in defining these outcomes and also measuring them over time, because this is a multi-step journey. Outcomes are multidimensional and they also evolve over time. With that, I'll introduce everyone to Shariq Plasticwala. He's the founder of Kafqa. Where he's building one of the largest platforms for performing arts in the country by giving people an opportunity to learn, perform, and earn on the same platform. And I am personally looking forward to seeing some great artistic talent come out of Kafqa. With that, over to you, Shariq. Would love for you to introduce yourself and Kafqa in your own words.
Sure, of course. Firstly, thank you, Karuna, for taking out the time. Kafqa, I think the simplest way is what you said, which is it's a platform for the performing arts where people can learn, where people can earn and monetize their skills, and then further their own careers. Our mission when we started was to really be a part of an artist's journey. I think that's what we're very passionate about, being a part of that journey from the first step that they take in the performing arts world to the time they succeed on the largest stages in the world. I think that's really what we are passionate about, and that's what the mission is about. If I break it down to what that really means, it's essentially a learning platform where someone can come in and sign up for dance, music, or speaking classes. As well as for instructors or people who are looking at it from a career perspective to sign up on the platform, start monetizing their skills by taking classes or by creating content or by performing and getting access to opportunities at live events and other like brand partnerships, right? So that's really what the platform's about.
Got it. Shariq, you talked of a lot of different customer segments or customer personas, say to say. So people who are just coming to learn, people who are coming to earn, people who are coming to do all of that, right? So how do you think about these different customer segments, and how do you think of outcomes for these different customer segments or these different business verticals that you have, learning, performing, etc.?
Sure. So I'll tell you how we think about it. Like we think about it as really a pyramid of people are interested in the performing arts space. So at the bottom of the pyramid are hobbyists, like people like you and me. Like we probably love to learn how to sing a little bit, pick up the guitar. It's more from a passion perspective, right? Like this is true for, let's say, kids between 6 to 14 years old, but also 15 to all the way up to 30, 35, right? And that's really the target segment for us, which is hobbyists. And for hobbyists, we offer a platform where they can come up and sign up for a class, right? So it's a dance class or a music class or a speaking class, etc., etc. I think that's one persona, which is, as I said, at the bottom of the pyramid. On top of that is, our instructors or our pros, as we call them. Instructors or pros are people who are further along in the journey in terms of that particular skill set and now want to monetize it, right? As well as further their careers in that field. So they want to monetize it by taking classes with us, as well as I said, like, getting opportunities to perform in live events or doing brand partnerships, content creation around that, etc., etc. So those are really the tools that we offer the second segment. And for them, what matters is career progression and earnings. And for the hobbyist segment, what really matters is whether I'm actually upgrading my skills and learning and performing or not.
Shariq, this is interesting. So you have outcomes that you have for different customer segments. And then there are business metrics where people are typically looking at things like how quickly are you acquiring customers? Are they being retained, down, MAU, whatever, right? How do outcomes and customer outcomes and metrics, do they come together, and how do they come together?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Karuna. So, my fundamental belief is that in the long term, customer outcomes is equal to business outcomes, right? Like there is no way you can build a great business in the long term with your customers being dissatisfied or unhappy with the outcomes that they're getting from what you're offering, right? Yes, in the short term, there can always be distortion. So, of course, you could acquire a lot of customers using paid ads and digital marketing and build a great marketing and sales muscle. But, in the long run, finally, what matters is customers really voting with their time and money and continuing to stick with your platform. I think the reason is also for us a little bit because we view businesses in two lenses, right? So the first lens is a transaction-led business. So, I'm transacting with you once and I'm trying to make money from that one particular transaction. And then there are businesses which look at, like we look at them as relationships, right? Like, so think about a 10-year relationship with a customer or a 20-year relationship with a customer. And we have chosen to be a relationship-based business, right? Which means that we're constantly thinking and obsessing about, why will our customers love us for 10 years and for 20 years? And what can we offer them that makes them happy with the outcomes that they're getting, that gets them to stick for 10 years and 20 years. So that's how we're really aligning the business outcomes and the customer outcomes in the long run. In the short run, of course, distortions can always happen, but our fundamental belief is in the long run, both of these are exactly aligned.
That's very nice. But tell me, where do you start thinking of this customer outcomes or customer love? I hear you that in the long run, they have to, it has to come together. But when you start, is it at the very beginning? Is it after a year or two? What is the right time?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with the first customer. Like it's very hard to say that, I'm not doing a great job for one customer, but suddenly if 100 customers, I'm going to start doing a good job, right? In terms of outcomes. It starts with the first customer itself. If the outcome for the first customer is not great, I think the probability of, building a great sustainable business is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Us, it starts with the first customer, like are being able to make the first customer happy with the outcomes that we were able to provide.
Very true. In fact, it'll be impossible if you don't get it right for the first customer to get it right for the 10,000 customer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, yeah, and it's also very important to start early because then that will permeate into your organizational DNA culture, which is very, very important. Yeah. But tell me, as you started thinking of customer outcomes, was it difficult to translate it into business metrics? Were there any lessons that you learned that you'd like to share?
No, absolutely. Look, I think when we started thinking about outcomes, and I'll talk a little bit about both the segments here, right? Like the hobbyist segment that is looking to learn. And for them, actually, the interesting thing was that we felt that the differentiation was in the outcomes itself. We felt that the incumbents and the existing services that were being provided were a little bit more, on a theoretical nature. Whereas what students really wanted was an opportunity to showcase and perform what they have really learned. And that was the tangible outcome that they were looking for. And just the happiness around that was really the outcome, right? And that's, in fact, the insight started from there. And that's how we started designing the curriculum. We just started designing or training instructors, et cetera, right? Like, so that's on the first customer segment, which is the hobbyist segment who's looking to learn. On the second segment, right, like the biggest outcome is frankly on earnings and career acceleration, right? And career acceleration is in terms of, are we able to grow, let's say, the viewership on social media for them? And frankly, whether we're able to translate that into real earnings for, let's say, instructors or people who are looking at it from a career standpoint, right? So that was the second thing that we were like focused on in terms of day one. from an outcome perspective. And we felt that these were the two North Star metrics that we really wanted to go after from a customer success standpoint. I think how that translates into business outcomes, to be honest, is very, very clear. Like, I fundamentally believe that customers vote with their time and with their money. So the retention metrics that are there month on month, we obsess over them. We worry if it falls a little bit. We start looking into it very deeply, and that's because whatever feedback metrics or feedback scores or NPS scores, right, that you collect are at the end of the day opinions, right? What matters is when people vote with their time and their money, and that shows up in the retention metrics. So that's how we really tie these two things together. The outcomes basically lead to like high quality retention metrics, which we're actually pretty happy about. Like, for example, our 14th month, and we're in our 14th month. So some of our earliest cohorts, even after a year, 60% of those customers are actively taking classes with us, right? So we feel good and happy about that. But of course, we feel that the remaining 40% should also be taking classes. So that's what we continuously do on a monthly basis.
And Shariq, one last question. So do you see these outcomes evolve over time, change over time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would say the services that we are offering, they do, because it's a skill-based service, right? Or as I said, a career acceleration service on the instructor side of it, or earning acceleration service. So for hobbyists, for example, what was a great outcome in level 1 of their classes may not be what is a great outcome in level 8, right? Their expectation of where they wanted to be has changed. At the simplest form, it could be they being happy with a performance versus they being happy with a performance watched by thousands of people, or getting a certification from a renowned institution, right? Like, that's just a simple expectation change that might happen on the learning side, and we evolve with that, right? Like, so we have continuously iterated our services, created partnerships that help us evolve with that expectation of the customer. So that's on the learning side, and on the instructors and the pro side of it, it's the same. I mean, what seemed like success, X thousand, that seemed great, but that seemed great 6 months back. Like, today, that expectation could be that X thousand plus 10% or plus 20%, right? And that's great, because frankly, for us, like, that's the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is that our customers are evolving, their expectations are getting higher, and it gives us more and more opportunity to do more for them.
Yeah, no, this is very important. Customer centricity is key to building a long-lasting business. And thank you so much for your time. It's been a terrific journey with you till now. Terrific conversation today. So thank you.
No, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for the opportunity.